For this assignment, I really wanted to do something with flowers and flower petals. I started off by scanning the two roses separately, then tore the petals off and scanned them. I then put both of the roses into Photoshop and deleted the backgrounds and put them on a new black background together. After that, I took the paint stroke and layered it on top of the roses and deleted the black paint, leaving the outline of the stroke. Finally, I put both of these on top of the torn off rose petals and used it as a background. I really like the way this image turned out because of all the different layers and levels it has throughout it and the contrast between the colors of the roses. For the hand coloring assignment, I started off using a colored picture of myself when I was little. I scanned it, put it in Photoshop, and turned it black and white, and then tried to mimic the original image before it was turned black and white in terms of colors. After I finished the hand coloring, I thought the final product was a little bit boring. I decided to put together a background of the same image in different colors. At first, I did each picture a different color, but saw that it was way too busy looking. So I decided to change each image to a different tone of blue and layer the hand color image as a paint stroke on top of it. I really like how it turned out because you have the different shades of blue and then you have the hand colored image right in the middle, and it can kind of draw your eye towards the middle of the image and the subject. Over the period of time I was assigned to take pictures for my motion blur project, I went over to my friend Anna's house. I wasn't originally thinking about taking pictures of her, but we were outside and she started swinging on her neighbor's swing set, and I thought it would make an interesting image. So I took a few images from different angles and perspectives. This one turned out to be my favorite of them all. I really like how Anna, or the subject, is off to the right and not dead center. I also like how Anna is blurred, but you can still tell it's a person and see some detail on her shirt. My favorite part of this image is that the whole image is not blurred, just one element of it. The day I started taking my images for the depth of field assignment, it was really nice outside, so I decided to go into my front yard and take pictures of some of the plants I have. I struggled with this project in terms of being able to get the depth of field to show in my photographs. The first image shows depth of field because the plant in the front is blurred while the plant in the background is completely in focus. I wish I would have turned the angle of my camera more so that the background would be less of the mulch and rocks and more of like the plant. The second image is also an example of depth of field because the berries in the front are completely in focus while the rest of the tree behind it is blurred and out of focus. I feel that if I would have also angled my camera differently, it would have added more value because right now you can see my neighbor's house and that's not very attractive. But I do like how the red berries and the green leaves are very contrasted. For the Loki lighting assignment, I decided to use Christmas lights as my light source. I had my little brother Brady stand still while I wrapped him around in Christmas lights. He wasn't the biggest fan of standing still for a while, so this is one of the few images that actually turned out extremely focused and not blurry. I really like the way the Christmas lights turned out. I especially like how there are spots of light here and there that illuminate some of the aspects of my brother's shirt. For the filter project we did in class, I used a picture of me and my little brother Brady. For the first image, I applied a different filter to each square area of the photo. I really like how there is a variety of different filters in this photo, but it is also sort of crazy to look at because of the amount of filters, so I decided to do another image with less filters applied to it. This is my second image that I applied a filter to. Like the first one, I used the same image of me and my little brother. I like this picture a lot better than the first one because there's less going on in terms of the amount of filters and it's easier to focus on. I decided to add a filter to each row I made in the picture. I also decided to only use filters that change the texture or look of the photo rather than the color because I really like the look of the original image. For the panorama project, I decided to go to Prairie Fire and take pictures there. This is a panorama that I made of single pictures taken of one of the murals that was painted inside a parking garage. To make this panorama, I went into Photoshop and used a setting that puts single photos together into panoramas based on the similarities between the different photos. I chose to use this panorama as my final image because the separate pictures piece really nicely together compared to a couple of other panoramas I had made. I also really like all of the bright colors and how what is going on in the panorama or mural is very abstract. During the time I was assigned to take contrast photos, my brother and I were outside raking leaves and I was inspired. I decided to grab some leaves of different colors and take pictures of them. This photo is my favorite one. I arranged some yellow and light brown leaves in a pile and put a red leaf on top. Then I put this image into Photoshop and cropped it so that the leaf was not in the center and used tools in Photoshop to brighten the colors of the photo. I thought this concept demonstrated contrast because of the drastic changes in color between the shades of yellow and brown to the shades of red. This was the picture I was originally going to use from the final print for my historical photographer project. Ansel Adams took his pictures of nature, so I went to Ironwoods Park and took pictures of trees and some of the plants there. I really like this image because I like how the tree looks, but if you look in the background, you can see houses, and that's something you would not see in Ansel Adams images. I went back and retook pictures of the same tree and turned my camera at a different angle so you wouldn't see the houses in the background, but they didn't look as good, so I chose a different picture of a tree. This is the picture I used for my final print for the historical photographer project. This picture was also taken at Ironwoods Park like the other tree one before. I like this image better than the other one for a couple of reasons. First, I feel it is more interesting to look at and it looks more like Ansel Adams' work overall. I also feel that it has a lot more contrast, which is a huge key to Ansel Adams' photographs. This is by far my favorite picture that I've taken this semester.